Hey, Nicole Huntsman, your astrologer from moderncosmic.com. In this video, I'm going to help you guys with, for those of you who are trying to find out if someone is being faithful or not to you, I'm going to show you 3 solar arcs that tend to show up when an illicit relationship is happening. So 3 things to spot, to keep an eye on. And I'm going to explain to you sort of why that is, why these. It doesn't necessarily mean someone's going to have an affair, but I'm going to explain to you what's happening in the background in their sort of psyche to help you understand why it is that they many times will kind of head down that road during these solar arc movements. Okay, so first of all, solar arc, if you don't know what a solar arc is, this isn't a video on solar arcs, so I'm not going to spend too much time explaining solar arcs, but basically what they are is for every year of your life, okay, we are taking the sun, the degree that the sun's at. Okay, my sun's at 4 degrees of Libra. Okay, and every year of my life, from the time I was born, we're going to move it a degree counterclockwise. Okay, so basically, the sun is going to be now add your age to the degree that your sun is in, and it should be right around that degree currently. Okay, you don't need to know that, but bottom line is, all the other planets also they all stay in formation to one another, so they sort of move 1 degree each year in lockstep, and they arc around the chart, around the birth chart. So you got the birth chart here, and the solar arcs are around the outside, you know, moving around it. Okay, got it? All right. Now, what we're talking about is the solar arc Neptune in particular. The first number one thing I want you to look at, and you can go look at celebrities who've had affairs, you know, if you've got dates and stuff, and if you know if we've got birth time for them, then you can do their solar arcs. You can look at this and test it out and see if it works. So we're looking, this is for a man in particular. It's his solar arc Neptune is arcing into position to conjoin, square, or oppose his natal sun, so his birth chart sun. The easiest way to do this, if you're newer to astrology, if you know the modes, the modalities, okay, so cardinal, fixed, mutable, find out whichever modality this person's sun is, their natal sun, and as soon as that Neptune is in the same modality, that's when that's a trigger. Okay, so it has to be the same degree. It has to be the exact same degree as this person's. If you want to pinpoint this to the exact period in time when this person is experiencing this solar arc, then it's got to be the same exact degree as their sun. Okay. So you know, when you listen to music, or if you're a reader and you enjoy poetry, or artists will use imagery that involves water to sort of signify feeling that they're being swept away emotionally, or you're drowning, or it's a flood. It's like, you know, water is this, while it's such an important substance, it's our most basic, most valuable solvent. It can dissolve more things than anything else on earth that we know of anyway. It also can kill us, right? A large body of water is very dangerous. It's also a reminder of the womb, the amniotic fluid, you know, that time when we were very unconscious, but yet we were also part of the kind of the oneness. We were in paradise, in Eden, in a sense, and then we got kicked out. Okay, so all of this is very sort of Neptunian imagery. Now, when someone has, through solar arcs, their solar arc Neptune, making a hard aspect to their natal sun, this person, a man in particular, it's usually a man, their sense of self becomes a little bit, well, it becomes dissolved, or they sort of are shifting. And as far as their identity, their self-identity. If you've known anyone who has Neptune to the sun in their natal, in their birth chart, you'll see this. They just don't see themselves clearly. They either think very poorly of themselves, or or the opposite. You know, they have an inflated sense of self. Okay, so that's what Neptune sort of does, even as a solar arc. You're a little bit self-deluded. You're not seeing yourself clearly. Okay, and when it's a man in particular, just because this is the way it usually plays out, he needs a job to do. His ego has been sort of turned into mush. And if someone comes along, because it's a solar arc, so it usually brings a person, someone's going to come along that he gets to rescue. And then all of a sudden, it's like he has his staff of light, his manhood back. I know who I am. I'm going to rescue this poor, innocent person that needs my help. I'm going to be her redeemer, therefore redeeming myself, you know, this kind of thing. All right, so many times you'll see this happen. I see this with clients all the time. Man is experiencing this, and there's a woman who's married who's like in a relationship that's not great, and they have an affair. Very simple. Or even if it's not a straight out physical affair, it is one where the man who has this Neptune happening feels like he's got to assist or help this woman, dissolve her marriage. All right. Now, okay, so that's one version. And remember, this is usually hidden. And the person who's the sun person, they're self-deluded. They're not seeing themselves clearly during this year of this particular solar arc. On the other hand, as far as females go, we see something very similar also with Neptune. So conjunct, squared, opposition, okay, opposing. It's going to be that Neptune to her Venus or perhaps her moon, but definitely her Venus. The Venus is because that's her romance center. And when this happens for the woman, she feels that she's met the love of her life. It's highly romanticized, highly idealized. There's an element to this too of fantasy. And even if they're, let's say that they're not together necessarily, whether this woman is attached or if she's the one that's coming in and kind of doing the home wrecking. Sorry, but it's all so dreamy and fantasy laden that no one really realizes what's going on. They're not seeing things clearly. And solar arcs last for a year. So it's there and then it's gone. And you see it all the time. Think of all the rebound relationships you've seen. People that have affairs, then there's a divorce, and then the affair also ends up dissolving. Many times those affairs were started during a Neptune transit or something in the progress chart or, their solar arcs with Neptune. And so it's just, I dated a guy for 2.5 years and I had Neptune opposing my Venus, approaching most of that time. And it was, I didn't see his flaws. I just loved him. I loved him truly, unconditionally. I wanted to take care of him. It's also Venus Neptune for women. There's a desire to take care of the man. Her own sort of sense of self gets sort of wrapped up in the relationship, gets wrapped up in that romantic role she's come to play for this man. So that's number 2. Okay, the third is not necessarily, doesn't have anything to do with Neptune. It's actually if your solar arc Mars, or rather your solar arc Venus or your solar arc Mars move into position to conjunct, square, oppose your natal Venus or your natal Mars. But it has to be kind of flip-flopped. It's got to be Mars to Venus or Venus to Mars, yin and yang. This one is more about, there's a high degree of sexuality, a lot of heat and passion with this one. So it's usually you during that year, you have someone in your life where your love life is sort of activated. Now, it can be one where it's just a secret crush that you have. There are some astrologers, that's kind of the way that they look at this one. But I've seen this one, I have seen it as a highly sort of, there's a lot of fantasy to it. But to me, it is, it's Mars. Mars is Mars's physical body. So to me, it's actually happening. It's just heated, hot, sexy, passionate. I am so excited to have this next year. Thank you. Thank you, stars above. It's moved to my second house of money too. So I'm like, thank you again. That's really fantastic. Sorry if I just offended anybody by crossing myself. It was meant not to be offensive. I really am grateful. So all 3 of these, now the Mars to Venus one isn't necessarily an indicator of like an illicit or hidden relationship. It can be an indication of a hidden crush though. So it's either you fully are enjoying a romantic sexual relationship or you're crushing really hard on someone. And it's obsessive in a sense. That's more Pluto. It's just, you just really like them. And it's just sexy. It's a sexy, fun crush. We've all had them. All right, so those are the 3. Those are the 3 that I like to look for. Study some celebrity charts if you have dates when they had an affair and you've got their birth time, if you've got correct birth time. Astro.com has a great, huge, data bank full of birth charts. So you can go on there and play. See what you can dig up and let me know. Okay, have a good one. And if you need a reading, if you need a relationship reading, people ask me about this stuff all the time. What's going on with their partner? Partner's acting really weird. What's happening there? So it's definitely something we can look at during a relationship reading. I'd love to help you. Okay, have a good one. Thanks for watching and bye-bye.